We've got more breaking news out of the NFL where Kirk Cousins is heading to the Atlanta Falcons on a 4-year deal. That's been confirmed by his agent, Mike McCartney. Now, Cousins has spent the past 6 seasons in Minnesota, where he ranks 3rd in franchise history in passing yards and 2nd in touchdowns. In 4 of his 6 seasons in Minnesota, he passed for over 4,000 yards. Cousins will join a Falcons offense that includes Bijan Robinson, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts. Let's welcome in our lead NFL insider, Jonathan Jones, for more on this. JJ, the Atlanta Falcons, we knew that they were in for Kirk Cousins. We had reports that they were going to start talking as soon as that free agency window opened at noon Eastern time today, and they get the deal done, a big upgraded quarterback.
Yeah, we've been reporting that Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons were a marriage that could very well happen. And, of course, when that legal tampering window opened up at noon, as you allude to, that is when conversations could truly be had between the two sides. Look, there is familiarity here with Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons coaching staff. You have Raheem Morris, with whom he overlapped in Washington. You have Zach Robinson, the new offensive coordinator there with the Falcons, who was with the Rams with Kevin O'Connell. And, of course, Kevin O'Connell, the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, who had Kirk Cousins for the last couple of years. Well, now, of course, he goes to Atlanta and is going to be in an offense that is familiar, that is going to create a lot of matchup issues, and there's going to be a lot of motion. That's what Raheem Morris was telling me at the Combine at our CBS Sports HQ set. So it has been a match that we have anticipated for some time, and now General Manager Terry Fontenot, who's been there the last couple of years, he got the last of Matt Ryan, and then they drafted Desmond Ridder. Clearly didn't work out as they were trying to dig themselves out of salary cap hell. They have done that, and so now they go with Kirk Cousins to lead them into the future here the next 4 years. I think he's coming up on 36 years old, but he certainly still has it. Coming off an Achilles, and that is significant, no question about it, but should be ready for week 1. So the Falcons going into this new era with Kirk Cousins as their signal caller.
And the thing with Cousins, you mentioned, I mean, he's coming off the Achilles, but that doesn't seem to be a concern for anybody. But in terms of this offense and this team and that NFC South, we saw Baker Mayfield re-sign with the Buccaneers. They've got Mike Evans. It really seems like it's going to be these two competing for top spot in the division, potentially.
Potentially. I mean, there's no doubt about it, because you had a Falcons team that the last couple of years has underperformed, whether that was at the quarterback position, whether that was deficiencies with the head coach or play calling, whatever. The Falcons should have won more games than they have the last couple of years in a bunch of 7-win seasons. And so obviously moving on and getting a new head coach, bringing in a young hotshot offensive coordinator in Zach Robinson, and now getting Kirk Cousins to throw the football around the yard to these guys. Bijan Robinson, such a dual threat weapon coming out of the backfield. You have Kyle Pitts, who, you know, he struggled last year, but he was coming off that surgery, and it just took him a little while to get going. It's always difficult for young tight ends in the NFL, so hopefully they can figure out a way to use him in the best way possible this upcoming season. Look, the other thing that I love about this Falcons team is their offensive line. I mean, you have Jake Matthews, who I think is one of the more underrated left tackles in the NFL. Chris Lindstrom is one of the best interior offensive linemen in the entire NFL. And so you're going to have Kirk Cousins well protected. I really, really like this signing for the Falcons. There's obviously going to be competition in the NFC South with the Buccaneers, who right now, as you note, just re-signed Baker Mayfield to a deal that's really a 2-year, $60 million deal. They have Mike Evans on what is really a 2-year deal. And so we're going to continue to see here the future of the Falcons with Kirk Cousins.
It's going to be very interesting in terms of what Minnesota does now, because, I mean, I'm not sure if Minnesota fans are happy about this or unhappy. They seem to have a love-hate relationship when it came to Kirk Cousins at times. But obviously for them, perhaps a bridge quarterback situation. JJ, any insight onto where the Vikings go from here?
I'm sorry, Jeremy, say that again.
Is there any insight on where the Vikings would go from here?
Yeah, they are going to look at the free agent market. You know, they also have been rumored to be interested in trading up into the top 3. And so really, I was talking with executives and personnel around the league earlier today. The quarterback market was very quiet, and it was quiet because everyone was waiting on where Kirk Cousins would land. Now that he has landed, now we're going to start to see some of that shake free. A Sam Darnold, maybe a trade for Zach Wilson with a 6th or 7th rounder. You're going to see Ryan Tannehill, Jacoby Brissett, who could go to New England. You have Joe Flacco, who could wind up in New England or back in Cleveland. So we're going to start to see those things happen here very